are correct. I'm so used to just going, like, okay, this is what I used to do. So I kind of first made this build. I was trying to get a perfect muta timing, essentially, like as fast mutas as I possibly could without being, stupid. Like that it's an economic build. I don't take my third hatch, but I have 2 saturated bases. It's not an all-in. And I get an extra queen and a spine. Like, it's essentially the fastest conceivable way to get mutas without cutting huge corners. But I was just going muta to Ling Bane. And then someone said, ultras are like really, really, really good now. And I was like, what? I didn't know they changed ultras. Like, I thought they were the just amazingly trashy, horrible Wings of Liberty ultras. So I started using ultras, and I was like, holy shit, man, these guys are great. And since then, I've kind of been rushing to Hive to get ultras. And, I think in that sort of situation, having banelings, more banelings would have been good. I don't know, default make ultras. Which could be fine if I was flanking, but he was kiting really well. So he was, I agree with you. There's too many ultras unless I was also moving around to flank. Like, that could have made my life easier. I think I played very well until the ultras came out, which was like the entire second half of the game. I usually get supply blocked. I've been getting supply blocked more than I used to, and I think I did a good job not getting supply blocked that game, really. My Mutalisk, I didn't lose like a single muta at first, which was good, although I wasn't as active with them as I should have been. I should have been poking around just a little bit more. He had an unusually high marine count for the moment, when the mutas were in his base, so... yeah, man. Well, sorry I only had one ZVT to showcase, but hopefully you saw that it's certainly playable. I mean, it transitioned into a long game, and that might be a good point too. Although here's the thing, like, mines are just a huge headache, as I'm sure you know. Well, here's the thing. I got a lot of mutas early, like 9, but then transitioned essentially into full ground. And so I think I could have had more banelings for sure. What do I do against an early stem timing? I guess how early? Like, early stem timing is tough for me to hold, but keep in mind, I have 3 queens and a spine, and my mutas are out by about 8 minutes. So, okay, no, it doesn't matter. I have mutas in their base by 9 minutes. So, like, if they're planning on hitting a 9-minute 30-second timing, like, it's going to get really delayed. Essentially, the mutas, if they leave their base, they are trying to go for like a base trade, and they have to run from their base. I have lost games where they've done that. It's not invincible, but that is the reason. The stem timing, if you have a baneling nest, it gets completely shut down, and if you don't, it's really scary, right? Like, really scary. So that is why, after the mutas, the first 2 things I get, just right away after the mutas are made, sometimes even while they're being made, but usually not, like 800 gas, 900 gas, 1000 gas on mutas, the +1 air attack, then Ling Speed Baneling Nest, boom, and then the two melee upgrades, like the Carapace and the melee attack. And then, right when the Baneling Nest gets done, get Baneling Speed. So essentially, if I control the mutas right, I should be able to delay the push long enough to get Baneling Speed and just crush the push. And then, of course, I'm on 3 bases. Also, another thing that's tricky about this build is... And, like, I don't care if they know what I'm doing. Like, I have practice partners all the time. I do this same thing all the time, and we get into long games, and they can even prepare for it, and it's fine. It gives me plenty of room to try to outplay them. But if they don't know what I'm doing, And, like, what are they gonna think? They see this gas early. By the way, it's free to cancel Zergling speed. So if they are scouting me at all, I'll always just get Zergling speed first before my queen's done. And they see Zergling speed being made. Then the SCB is killed. It's fun you mentioned that. Yes, I've beaten the Muslim with this build. Yes, I have. The Muslim was... although this was back in Wings of Liberty. Like, I don't know, I essentially quit for a year, but I had, like, just a really brief period of time I played. The last time I played the Muslim, I think we split. I did this twice, and I beat him the first game, because, you know, I mean, if you don't know what's coming, it's rough. If I do a really good job, it's rough anyway, but, like I was saying, you just see a 2-base Zerg that took a fast gas and get Ling speed, and that's all you see. Especially right now, people are going to think all-ins, right? Baneling and Roach all-ins and stuff. So, they will probably alter their build into something less economic or less, you know, good against really fast mutas. And I've won a lot of games where they've just left. They've seen the mutas and been like, whatever, I'm just going to leave. Like, these mutas are hitting my base at 9 minutes, I'm not ready for that. Which is always kind of disappointing, because it's fun. It's a really fun style to play. It's hard, like, you need good multitask, but if you're having a lot of trouble with Terran, you know, this might be a fun thing for you to mess around with. I haven't played the Muslim in HOTS yet, by the way. Also, I should clarify something. I am simply not as good of a player as the Muslim. Like, even when I was in my prime, the Muslim was still a stronger player than I was. And I've only been back for 2 weeks. Like, the Muslim is a much, much better player than me now. So, if I played the Muslim now, I should not be able to beat him with this build. Like, this is a skill-intensive build. It's kind of, if I play better than the Terran, I win. If the Terran plays better than me, he wins, and the Muslim would certainly play better than me. I do not, but I really need to go to sleep. But tell you what, really quick, I'll just tell you what it is. I've been thinking of making a guide on Team Liquid, although, you know, I don't know how into this I want to get. Like, I stopped, you know, I kind of retired. I stopped playing because I wanted to open a new leaf of my life, and I don't really have aspirations to try to go pro again. Okay, but anyway, I'll run you through the build, so you can open Notepad or whatever. Hatch first. 15 hatch, just normal. Okay, here we go. Send out a drone, 15 hatch, boom. Let me talk about Overlord scout patterns really quick. Against this, you're only looking for one thing, and that is their command center. Almost every Terran is opening fast command center, either like command center blind first, before barracks, or barracks command center, and you want to make sure they're not one-basing you. So this game, that's why it's sometimes annoying when they start cross. This game I had to make my spine really early. Really, I should have made it even earlier, because if they're one-basing and you don't make that, you die quick. Okay, so 15 hatch, 16 pool, 17 gas. And then, of course, immediately make 2 queens. Now, you will get 100 gas slightly before your queen gets done, but that's okay, because just the math works out well. If you go to lair right when you have 100 gas, you won't actually have 200 gas for the Spire when the lair finishes. Like, your drones essentially harvest 140 gas or 150 gas off of one geyser in the time it takes to morph to lair. So if you, or excuse me, 160, I think, 150, 160. So if you have about 40 gas extra before you go to lair, that's fine. Your timing isn't altered at all. In this case, my queen was a bit delayed because of the supply block, but it doesn't really affect things. So yeah, and I'm just gonna drone. I can make a scouting pair of Lings. If I'm against someone who I think might one base, I'll definitely make one pair of Lings and scout, but this is safe against most things, so I just prefer almost to not make a pair of blings and make a faster spine. Okay, so notice right when my queen gets done, I go to lair. You should make sure you can get to lair ASAP because, you know, the speed of the mutas is key. And you want your third queen right when your queens get done. Because the third queen queens make you resilient, right? Having a third queen sometimes gives you energy to transform your lone spine. Your one spine becomes much more formidable, can transfuse. I meant transfuse, obviously, not transform. Transfuse your other queens, and also having an extra queen is great against Hellions. Like, it's just having an extra queen is great against everything, and you can start your creep spread. So the second queen is being made pretty much right away. I would supply block for a couple seconds, but not a big deal. I have one bad supply block. This is the one that really my only big early to mid game mistake. Just injecting and making drones. Now, depending on what your opponent has done, you will want to take your other 3 gases at some time before lair gets finished. Right now would be ideal for me. Like, so when your lair is a bit more than halfway done, maybe 2/3, take your other 3 gases and you'll put drones in them instantly. If you're being pressured or whatever, you can wall off with Evos. I mean, this is a bad map to wall off with, but you can always make the evolution chambers first, and then take the gases just a hair later. But here is the key. Whatever you do, when you have enough resources for your third, you need to put your hatchery down there. So, if you take your gases like when your lair is at half or whatever, you will be a bit less defended because you won't have, you know, been able to wall off with Evos, and you won't have the money for a hatch until your mutas are built, I believe. In this case, I don't take my gas until, you know, now, 3/4 done, and so I should have the money for a hatch, but I don't have the money for the hatch. The reason being, I got supply blocked really bad at 32, I think? 32 or 34, I don't know, in the 30s. And so all this minerals my drone's producing I didn't get. So right now I could have my third down. Another prohibiting factor, if he's really good at his Hellions, you won't be able to get your third down, which is totally fine, but usually they're getting paranoid. They check here, they check here, they might start sending it around other places to see if you've ninja'd an expansion, right? So usually I can get my third out almost always before the mutas come out. But in this case, I decided I better hold off, because it's more important to get close to full saturation and have the overlords ready. So, as usual, like Brood War, you're building up gas and then you save minerals, so right when the spire pops, boom, 7 mutas. Okay, so I'm gonna go to 7 or 8 mutas. And then this is what's on my mind. Here's the checklist. Make mutas. Check. Get map control. Like, first thing I want to clear the Hellions to make sure I can safely expand, and then just keep them in his base. Try to pick off Marines and stuff if you can, but just use them to be annoying. And then the checklist goes this: Sling Speed, Baneling Nest, Carapace upgrade, melee upgrade, and then finally an Infestation Pit, which can all happen pretty quick. So I should be getting the +1 attack very soon. I might make one more muta, I don't remember. Okay, now, +1 attack. And here's the third, but, I mean, I have 43 drones, I have more, although of course I have more drones than he's Terran, but I can quickly saturate this. Got the Hellions just because I don't want to be annoyed by them. There's the Baneling Nest, there's a +1 Carapace, and I completely just was a moron with the melee, which I think actually is what got me into a lot of trouble in the first place. If I just had my freaking melee upgrade, I should have been able to win much earlier. And, I mean, and check this out, I'm gonna have my 4th down, I think, before he has his 3rd down. Mostly watch this. Okay, he places his 3rd, and I should be placing my 4th. Come on, I have the minerals, place my 4th. and I'm going to Hive, and just continuing on with the upgrades. And so all I do is I use the mutas. I know I'm like beating a dead horse, but I'm just walking